Hi, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me just fine. My name is Farah, and I'm your hostess tonight. Sister Farah OFS here at the Swords of St. Michael Network, your place for supernatural, preternatural, and parsing out the demonic from the fake. Welcome to tonight's live version where we are going to go over from old case files some issues that are in the dark triad of the Diagnostic Statistician's Manual for mentally ill personality disorders. And of course, the top three are Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. So we're going to cover the dark side of narcissism. So don't go anywhere. Grab your popcorn, grab your tea, but hurry up and get back with me because we're beginning now. I'm hoping everybody can hear me okay. So tonight, as I said, we're going to finish. We had a top 10 that I was doing from a previous case. So when I do another one of these episodes, we're going to continue to go into a different case with a separate list. Welcome everyone into chat. I want to make sure I say hello and thank you to my new Patreon, Suddenly and Ash, and I've got just so much appreciation for the support for this network. And I also want to say thank you too for those of you that go to prayersbythebead.com and order your St. Benedict medals, your St. Michael medals, and whatever else you need for spiritual warfare. Thank you so much. So, quick moment and a shout out to chat. Welcome, Rach. She's shivering in the snow there. Ash. And of course, for all of you that I can't see, hey, John, good to see you. I can see you. I've got two different screens up, so I may be looking from time to time. But welcome in. Yes, can everybody hear me okay? Sorry if it's lagging, but maybe it might be good to either restart or reboot. I'm going to pray us in, and I'm hoping things are going to go smoothly for you. So here we go. We're going to ask St. Michael to come on in, and we're going to rock and roll. In nomine Patri et Filio et Spiritus Sanctus, sic erat in principio, et nunc et semper et saecula saeculorum. Sancta Michael Arcangele, defende nos in prelio, contra nequitiam et insidiis diaboliesto presidium, imperit ele Deus supplicis deprecamur tuque, princeps maletia celestis satana maliosque, spiritus malignos, qui et perditionem animarum peregantur in mundo divina virtute, in infernum detrude. Amen. All right. I need my glasses to say hi to everybody because, you know, these eyes, it's one of those old people thing, you know. I want to welcome everyone, and I want to remind you that this show is not for anyone under 18. Sorry. If you have young children in the room, if you have young children within earshot, either turn the volume down, put your little earbuds in, because we're going to be talking about topics that are not necessarily going to help little children sleep at night, okay? This also means, too, because some of the topics we're going to be talking about are very traumatic and can provide a trigger for some of us that have severely been traumatized as a child in adulthood. So please, if you do suffer from some traumas or you have lived through some highly traumatic events, I would recommend having someone else that knows you well enough listen to it before you decide to listen to it. In this episode, we're looking at how the demonic uses us to mimic their personalities. So we're going to dive right into it. And please go ahead and ask questions as we go. Post questions, and I will see if I can have some people pop them back up for me. So we're going to dive right in. Yes, thank you so much. Ashley reminded me, give this channel a thumbs up, please. And I'm hoping if you get something from it that you'll want to subscribe, but you have to click on the icon notification. If you subscribe, you will not get notifications when we go live, when we do these special event shows, when we do the other parsing out videos where I talk about psychology, demonology, that sort of thing. So please click that little subscribe. And I think the bell's over there. Just hit it to get it. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with number 1. Now, this is actually the end. So this is a part 2 of a top 10 that I had for a case. This was really, really fascinating. And I'm going to tie up the loose ends at the end too. So how does or will a narcissist react to being exposed by a relationship partner? Now, what I want to do is I want to start out with the demonic first, because this is the shadow demons of narcissism. And narcissism in itself is a comorbidity, meaning that narcissism is usually found and usually is present in other personality disorders. So when we're looking at the demonic first, what we're doing is we are seeing some of the darkest ways that narcissism is, shall we say, projected by the demonic onto humans. Welcome, Bernard. Good to see you. So when we look at how does or will a narcissist react to being exposed by a relationship partner, or let's look at the demonic, because as I said, these are the shadow demons of narcissism. And what do I mean by shadow demons? These are lower level entities. All the demonic is going to have the highest reflection of narcissistic tendencies, which is going to be the grandiosity, knowing that they are larger than life, knowing that they are so unique, so individual, nothing can touch them. And I guarantee you, as preternatural, supernatural, divine beings that God created, nothing can touch them except, guess what? Yep, name of Jesus. So I'm telling you folks, if you haven't been baptized, I'm hoping maybe this video will get you curious enough to decide that you do have something, an intercessor, a loved one up above, and his name's Jesus. So when we look at how these things are affected, I guarantee you the name of Jesus affects the supernatural, preternatural beings. In a narcissist, as the demonic educates the narcissist to their own levels of grandiosity, and as they get them to project this, the name of Jesus is not going to be affecting them so much. Because why? Because the human being themselves is making a conscious choice. Now, if I haven't parsed this out in videos, and if I haven't described this enough, the element of choosing to adopt narcissistic patterns of behavior is a choice. In other words, it is not organic. There are things such as, there is organic schizophrenia. There are many, many, many mental illnesses and degrees that are rooted in organic, and they're just unexplainable, but they're found in the brain, and people do need medication. And I am not disparaging the psychological or psychiatric community in any way, shape, or form. However, my job is to point out to you that there's a fine line between the organic and the diabolic. So in the diabolic's ability to project itself onto our human nature, and we're willingly, as we look at how narcissism is evoked and evolved, usually one of two ways, and I can go into that in another video because this is not the psychological video, this is the demonic video. We look at the indicators of any smaller to mid-grade to larger demonic. There are so many levels. We have some of the most powerful demons that are in charge of what is called legions, because it's hard for us to understand hundreds of thousands of these demons. say now our legion is anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000. These are dark angels. These are dark devils. And these are very powerful devils. And in each one of those legions, get this, is a centurion. A centurion or a century is 80 demons with a centurion over them. So when we look at the demons of narcissism, we're looking at probably some of the lowest ones because they infiltrate so easily and they appeal to our vanity so easily. They give us this sense of safety and security until we start getting abused by these things. So how will the narcissist react to being exposed by a relationship partner? Let's put the demonic in there. How will that lower level demonic react to being exposed in an abusive relationship? Because all demons want that abusive, codependent relationship with a human being so that they can use and they can twist and they can shift and they can create the chaos to destroy that person, that family, those relationships. And what this demon does is it freaks out. Because if the demon is exposed in that relationship with a human, guess what it has to do? It has to be very nice to draw that human back. And the wonderful thing about these preternatural beings is they have no time. They have all time. They can leave you alone for a week or a month. They can leave you alone for 5 years and then just pop back in your life. And how do they do it? Maybe it's an ex-husband, ex-wife. Maybe it is somebody that you knew from childhood. Maybe it's somebody that you just started working for that is acting exactly like the person that abused you in childhood, beat you, hit you, tormented you, left you alone. These demons can take anyone that subconsciously doesn't even know they're reacting to the suggestion of hurting you, abusing you, lying to you, putting you down, using their manipulative capabilities such as, well, that wasn't a really bad job, but I've seen you do a lot better. Now, if somebody says that to you at work, you're probably thinking maybe they're having a bad day. However, if this sort of behavior persists and this person you work with starts saying little things like, your belly's kind of hanging out over your belt there. I mean, what does your partner think about that? This is how the demonic acts when you have caught them in your life and you expose them and say, okay, Jesus, I don't want any part of this. They will find a way to come back and circle back and suck you in, either at work, either in a relationship. And what I've seen a lot lately, which is really, really difficult, is adult children. And parents are really struggling right now because as parents are trying to get stronger in their spiritual life and in helping their families, their children are flip-flopping and getting all these ideas and suggestions from our world that is just filled with demonic suggestion. So to answer the question point blank, how does the narcissist react to being exposed by a relationship partner? The same way a demon does. Rage in the cage. Does not like it at all. And, there is quite a bit of, I would say, probably common sense and good evidence that in human form, if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, if you are in an intimate relationship with a narcissist, with the demonic or the human, there's going to be a lot of anger and rage. With the demonic, You're going to need specific binding and rebuking prayers that are said over and over and over again. And you're going to have to laugh, shut those doors, and turn away. And they can't get back in. Not unless they come back years later and tempt you back into that relationship. The human, on the other hand, because of the manipulative tactics that they've used to sink their hooks in, to use you as their source of, shall we say, your reaction-jaction. Because guess what? They can poke you and you jump. They can say something nasty to you and you defend yourself. They can insult you and you're running. So in a human relationship with someone that is positing the traits of narcissism, that may or may not be a puppet for low-level oppression, when they are exposed by you, you will pay. If you have accounts with these people, if you have children with these people, they will go to every single end of the earth to make sure you are crushed, you are destroyed, you have no relationship with your family, with your relatives, with your children. They will cut you off at the Achilles tendon, saying, oh, well, you know, he always had a mental problem. They will attack your work. They will create such havoc in your life that you will beg them to take them back. You will be on your hands and knees, crushed. What did I do? What did I do? Let me make it better. Because they will stomp you in the ground when you expose them. So what do we do? What do we do with that human narcissist? You plan a strategy of escape, and you slam all the doors closed before they have the opportunity to lay the groundwork that you're the mentally ill one and you're the one with the problem. Even when you cut them off, the repercussions are going to be there. Do not put anything past them. And because they're such skilled liars, just like demons, they will lie about anything. And, you know, we're talking about some really simple stuff. I mean, they're going to lie about, they can call the police. So you molested them. They could, and, you know, I speak from experience, pull out a restraining order on you. Claim that you stalked them, you followed them, you molested them. And guess what? You can't prove that you didn't. And they can't prove that you did. So if their lies are convincing enough, they're going to get a court order against you. This is how dangerous the narcissist and the control of the demonic is. How, you know, amen. St. Michael defend us in battle. And that's why we pray that, George, before we begin. This is one of those things that a lot of people don't realize until they get in so deep with a relationship with a human being that is literally embracing and showing these symptoms of this kind of oppression and acting like the demonic. It's really, really scary because you would never think in a million years, you just wouldn't think that this person that loved me so much, this person that did so much to me, this demon that gave me so many prophecies. I made so much money helping so much people. This demon, this couldn't be a demon. It was an angel. It did so much for me. This demon, it can't be a demon. It was an angel. It made my life complete. Do you have any idea how many mediums and psychics and prophets believe they are talking to an angel when it's a narcissistic demon from hell? A lot. And when they're exposed, people suffer. So Number one, Armageddon. It is on. The battle is on, and you're the target. And unless you get your St. Michael on, unless you get to the foot of the cross and say, hey, Jesus, I need you now, it's going to be a battle that you will probably lose. Just saying. Number two, sorry if I go on a little bit, but there's so much to parse out about these supernatural creatures that are just so adept at making our life miserable when we let them in. You give them, a centimeter, they're going to take like 2 feet. And pretty soon you're listening, you're believing, and it's not good for anybody in the house. Okay, so to qualify as abuse, I thought was a really good question. When we think about abuse, what do we think of? I mean, we think about those little puppies in cages that they show us on commercials since, what was it, the 1970s with, the half-dead animals. When we think of abuse, we think of broken arms and bloodied faces, and we just think of a horrible image when we think of abuse. So this, I thought, was really, really important to include. To qualify as abuse from a narcissist, does it have to be actual abuse, or can it be perceived abuse? Now let's check the English dictionary here for perception. This is something I learned a long time ago when I was in college and I was studying Maslow and Freud and Jung, and trying to differentiate, did I want to study psychiatry? Did I want to study psychology? And because I am a strong believer in behavior therapy and very, very rooted in my faith, I knew psychiatry, I didn't want to prescribe drugs until there was like no other option. So in this instance of perception, never, ever let anyone tell you that your perception is wrong, even if you are on medication for schizophrenia. You are allowed to have your perception. Does that mean that it agrees with my perception? No. However, your perception is correct and fitting to your mind, your moment, your ability to take the input, put it into your mind, and understand what's going on. There is no right or wrong here. Perception is perception. Now, does that mean that is what society's perception is, or does that mean that is a moral perception? No. However, in this area that we're talking about, demonology, in psychology, in psychopathy, when you're talking about abuse and perception and perceived abuse, if an individual feels in their heart afraid, in their mind, and they are like ready to rip their hair out because they're so scared they want to crawl under the table, and all the person did was say, hey, get your feet off the couch, and they're just like ducking, is that abuse? In my house, heck, I grew up being screamed at. It's like, that ain't abuse. It's normal. Or in an Italian house or a Spanish house, I mean, people screaming all the time. But if that person was ever grabbed by the hair and thrown in the wall after getting yelled at, if that person was ever picked up by the arm and slammed with the nearest ashtray belt, that's going to be boom. It's going to be a traumatic trigger that's going to be like, oh my God, here it comes. And they're going to freak out. So is that real abuse, or is that perceived abuse? Perceived abuse is the same because it hits the amygdala and it freaks you out and it sends you into fight or flight. So there is no difference here to qualify as abuse from a narcissist as to being smacked, hit, threatened, they take you to court, or boom, I'm going to hit you, but they don't touch you. they play with a gun. I'm going to get you someday. But they don't pull the trigger. Is that real abuse? Or is that perceived abuse? Yeah. Demons do the same thing. And this is the crazy thing that a lot of people don't realize, that these preternatural beings that pretend to be angels, they are laying the groundwork by manipulating you and basically getting you to believe that they are safe and they are okay and they're going to be everything you need them to be, just like an abuser. So I think that if we're going to look at the demonic aspect of this first, because I like to cover the demonic and then the human, the demonic, how to qualify the demonic abuse as to actual abuse. When we look at how the demonic twists and operates by the power of suggestion, I mean, just this could be something as simple. And, I need to go to confession because, I almost had a road rage incident today. Some high school kid just set me off. I was like, I was going to give that boy a spanking. Was that my guardian angel? Was that the loving, sweet, compassionate fairy I want to be? No. Why? Because I listened to the demonic suggestion. I was like, I'm going to go get that kid. Why? Because that's how easy it is. Does that mean that I was oppressed? No. It meant that I listened, and I listened to the wrong one, and I instantly went into attack mode. That's how easy it is. And for somebody like me that prays, I cannot tell you how holy a life I got to live to do what I do. However, I don't claim to be holy, but you would think that I would not have the temptations to have a rage in the cage when I'm driving, right? You would not think that I would have such a temper. We all do. And these preternatural beings that are watching us and looking for a way to abuse us, it is not actual abuse. The demonic did not get me in an accident. The demonic did not do anything to create something where I would feel like, oh gosh, I'm just so oppressed. Oh my God, I better hurry up and I better go home, grab my holy water. No. What did the demonic do? It watched. It saw that I was in a hurry to pick up my son, and boom, got me to react and go, oh, I'm going to give that little boy a spanking. And I just went with it. That is so not like me. I was crossing myself saying, oh, mercy. That's how easy it is. And why do I tell you about this? Because we're talking about perceived abuse. Do I claim that the demon abused me? No, I wasn't in a relationship with it. But I guarantee you, had I followed that kid, I would have opened the door for a relationship with a demonic voice that was able to influence me in 1 second. So when we look at narcissists and we look at how they act, the human ones, our little human ones that are actually under the influence of these grandiose beings that you can't touch, any action, any look, any intimidating kind of thing that's like right there in your face, anything like that, if you perceive it as abuse, it's abuse. All right? Did we get that one? Okay. Do we have any questions before I go to the next slide? Because we've got 3 more I've got to cover. Ash, keep a look for me, and if we've got any questions, let me know. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm hoping you're going to get a lot out of this, parsing out about the shadow demons of narcissism and how demons affect and how they reflect themselves when they project themselves into our society. Wow, why do I look like a witch? Wow, I don't know. I've got a call box behind me that was used in an exorcism. I've got a cross. Do I look like a witch? Thank you. I guess never thought about it before. Bernard, do you have a question? If you do, type it in for Ash, because we're going to go to the next shot. Okay, next one. Now, in the realm of the demonic and the realm of the narcissist, what we see is a continual and a regular, how do I describe this? As human beings, when we grow up, part of our psychological makeup and our psyche is the desire for connection and the need for connection and the continuous back and forth of the mother and the child, as the mother validates the child's existence with loving glances. And when the child is afraid or scared, the mother comes in and the mother coddles the child and loves the child. And so the child knows there's a level of security. With the demonic, you will never get that validation after their hooks are in you. And what do I mean by that? When we look at an inability to validate, an inability to commit, because demonics have no time whatsoever. And they are preternatural, unique beings. So they have one, Ken used to always call it, I put his books up there because I was thinking about him today. They have one stopgap, that is to destroy, to create chaos. And that's why we have so many powerful tools and so many weapons that we can use against him. But what we have to focus on is we have to focus on the fact that A, the battle's already been won. B, we have the tools, the church, that we can interrupt and stop what's going on if these beings cannot be any sort of real, like an angel is going to be different. Demons were angels at one point, but angels work for God. The demons work for the destruction of humanity. So a demon is not going to, in the beginning, they're going to validate who you are. And there's a bunch of principalities and powers depending on what you're doing, depending on the monetary that you seek, depending on maybe you're looking for, maybe you need some attention at work. Maybe you need, let's say, more money, more prestige, more status. Maybe you want to be an actor. Maybe you want to be an actress. Maybe there's something about you that they see, that there's a level of pride in you that they can start working on you to let you believe that you have a special something, that you are a special something. And in this question here, the narcissist's inability to commit or validate a result of the tangibility of real-world commitment not existing in their alternate dimension, or is it due to the ability to flip a switch with the two distinct personalities? Now, I actually typed this out exactly as it came up. However, in the demonic, they don't shift between personalities. They have an on and off switch of, I am hooking you, so I'm going to let you believe that you are the one that has these supernatural abilities. And two, you're not doing what I want. It's time to destroy you now. That is not a personality. That is a manipulative tactic. So, excuse me. I had to cough a little bit. I've still got a little bit of allergies or whatever. It's so windy today. So when we look at the human side of this, the human side of the narcissist's inability to commit or validate, they are definitely reflecting exactly what the demonic does in their sphere of communication, oppression. The narcissist is empty and hollow. There is nothing in there. There is no personality. There is no self. You are the self. You are the object. You are everything they want to be, and they're jealous of it, just like the demonic. We are the beloved of God, Christ the King, and they can never be that. Now, there is quite a bit of church doctrine. There's quite a bit of saints that do, by experience, know that these preternatural beings do not have emotions or feelings like you and I do. It's not possible. So they do have that prime directive that Ken was talking about. Their focus is on playing with your emotions to get you to believe there is no God. There is no demons. You are the center of your own universe. So if you're looking at a human being and the human being's inability to commit or validate who you are, if they validated you, they wouldn't exist. And they don't exist anyway. However, you are the mirror that says they do exist. So they have to hate you from square one. A narcissist must start diminishing you almost as soon as they work with you. They enter a love relationship with you. As soon as you're born to a narcissist, the diminishing begins. And this is not, the inability to commit or validate is not a result of their idea of a real world commitment, or it doesn't exist. And it's not so much they need to flip a switch. They need constant adulation, constantly be told how wonderful they are, constantly reminded they are the most special, most best at whatever they do. But their disgust at you giving it to them, because they know that's not them, burns greater and hotter. So they have to destroy you and discard you. They have to make you feel like you are nothing, in the same sense, in the same way a minor demonic oppression works. You are nothing. Your creator doesn't love you. God's forgotten you. There is no Jesus. No one will ever love you or want you. This is the same exact side of the coin for these demonics and narcissists. And it's really kind of interesting, because when you look at, the fact that it appears as if the narcissist does have two distinct personalities, there is a lot of evidence to suggest, and I forgot, Sam Vaknin brought out a name that introduced the fact back in the 80s that the actual human narcissist is the first multiple personality disorder. Why? Because 1 minute you are all they want, and the next minute, boom, you don't exist to them. Why are you bothering them? What do you want? 1 minute, they can't get enough of you. They can't be close enough to you. They can't learn enough from you. And the next minute, you're yesterday's news. You're trash. So in that sense, because they do flip that switch, it does seem like they have multiple personalities. So that's a good one. Now 4. Any questions, Ash, in the chat room? If you have any, let me know. Welcome, Anne, to the program. Welcome you all, and I'm hoping you are getting something out of this. Please like, subscribe, and click on the bell notifications so that you too will find out when we do more shows like this. Okay, no questions? All right, we're going to go on to, let's see. Oh, number 4. Oh, Ashley, thank you so very much. Thanks for all your support. Oh, and thanks for the help, Lori. I really appreciate it. Thank you for helping Ash. Number 4 here. This is, what if any is the advantage of attempting to manipulate a narcissist? Now, as I said, we're going to go right back. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Ash. When we look at the demonic first here, what is the advantage of attempting to manipulate a demon? I'm sorry. Can I get a sip of water here? All right. As we know from, and if you're new to my channel, if you're new to this channel, if you're new to the study of demonology and the history of these preternatural, supernatural beings, in the beginning of Judaism, in the Zohar and in the Kabbalah, there are 72 names of God. And the flip side of this, welcome Colin, and the flip side of this is there are 72 names of some of the princes of the air, the demonic, the preternatural, and that sort of thing. So when the some of the mythology and some of the, shall I say, some of the strongest beliefs in the Kabbalah was that the keys of Solomon Solomon was able to create a golem being a demon, meaning that they spoke a demon into being. So this is the whole idea of the ability to manipulate a demon. And it is said that demons built the temples that God was housed in. Why would God allow demons to build a temple where his holy cloud would be, where he would exist? It wouldn't happen. So when I go into a little bit of the history so we can talk about, the manipulation of these things, what I'm trying to get to you is that we have and possess the divine nature of God. Christ is alive in us. However, to that extent, these preternatural beings are all-knowing. We are in this time. We're bound to this time. We cannot leave this time. We cannot see any other time. We do not see the end of time. We do not know what is going to happen to all these legions and these centuries and these centurions. We don't know. We just know that our faith tells us the battle's been won. The demons already know where they're going. They've seen it. They know. They know their time here is limited. They know that exactly the time they spend with us is that much. So they have to affect us in any way, shape, or form that they can to destroy us, dismantle us, create this chaos. So the advantage of attempting to manipulate a demon, what advantage would there be? What advantage would there be? Well, over the years and over the centuries, many people have believed and have rightly, I shouldn't say rightly, but they have received everything from wealth and fame and, all the lusty sex and drugs and everything that they've asked for. Is that manipulating a demon? No, it's not. Or how about the belief that a demon is going to go after your associates that abandon you, or they're going to create curses and remove problems for you. See, the error in believing that you can manipulate a demon is really pretty baffling. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us. Because these are supernatural creatures. And we are merely humans in human flesh. Breakable, bendable, suggestible, with all these varied emotions. And we think we can manipulate a demon. That is definitely demonic. Just have to say that right there, because that is such a grandiose idea. It's insane. It's insane. You'd have to be insane to think that you could manipulate one of God's creatures. We have a tough enough time manipulating each other. What gives us the right to think that we could manipulate a demon? No. It's wonderful that there's all these fabulous books out there misleading people, witchcraft, Satanism, occult books, letting us believe that, we can chain, we can train, we can get some of these little minor demons to do our bidding and look into the future for us and bring us money and everything else. It's such a lie. It's such a lie, and it's so sad because these people have to be so lied to. Oh, God bless you. Thank you so much, Colin. Thank you, guys. Ashley and Colin, thank you so much for the support. That was donations in case you're new and you're missing the live show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because this really, really helps me get the truth out there in word, in podcasts, in everything. So thank you, thank you, thank you. When we look at our human frailties, they're there for a reason. We are created in the image and likeness of the Creator. So does that mean that God is frail and God is, he has all these sensitivities? Why not? However, he created preternatural beings to be in charge of us, to help us get rid of the dark ones. Knowing that when we stepped out of Eden, because we turned away from him, we left our preternatural side in the Garden of Eden. We left it. We could not carry the robe of superiority in a fallen place. And how do we get it back? The blood of Christ. If you haven't been baptized, you hadn't asked the Lord into your heart, no time like the present. So let's go on to manipulating the narcissist. The narcissist, to manipulate a narcissist. Now, when we're talking about flesh and blood, we're talking about a different story. The demonics have watched us for thousands of years. They can make educated guesses how we're going to act, how we're going to react. You're not going to outsmart a demon. Just not going to. I don't care who you think you are. Now, human, when we see a narcissist that has had all their life, 18, 28, 38, 48, 58 years, that they have spent focusing and honing on people they need to feed off of, building them up, tearing them down, and discarding them, and then grabbing them again and bringing them into this circle. Tell me, how does the average person think that they're going to manipulate a narcissist? Well, this person obviously thought that they could. So the advantage, if any advantage of manipulating a narcissist, let us put it back into the incident we were talking about earlier where, let's say you are married to a narcissist, you have children with a narcissist. Let's say that this is a business partnership, and you have funds and everything else. The only advantage of attempting to manipulate a narcissist, it's really difficult to lie to a liar. So the only advantage would be to try and salvage friends, family, business, so that you haven't lost everything. However, know that when you attempt to manipulate, the narcissist will catch on very, very quickly because their nature is self-protection. They must have a source to draw from, and they are constantly there's something called situational awareness in certain circles. Their situational awareness is second nature to them from childhood. You have no idea what it is because you're not a liar. You're not a manipulator. You're not somebody that's looking to take advantage of someone. And this is the problem with the demons. They speak to the narcissist in ways and say, hey, look at this. Hey, look at that. It's almost like I used to tell, in the woods when you go hunting, There's little tiny little black cap chickadees that will sit on your cap. And they'll sit there and beep, 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 beep. And the deer that are nearby will run. Demons do the same thing for narcissists, especially if the narcissists are not baptized, are not practicing their faith, are not seeking to try to be better people, loving God every day. To get oneself out of narcissism is possible, but it's next to impossible until the narcissist admits there's something wrong. And no narcissist believe they're wrong, just like no demon ever thinks that they're wrong, because they know they are perfect. So there is only one advantage of attempting to basically manipulate a narcissist, and that advantage is to save whatever you can before they destroy and attempt to destroy everything you know, which they will do. That's why it's best to try and recognize them. But we'll do some shows on that too, so we can go into a little bit more in depth. Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I have to take this question, but you know what? I'm going to actually do it after number 5. I'll try and wrap this up. So for those of you that are not listening live, I have a great question I'm going to come back and get. Is that desire to do so? This is number 5. Is that desire to manipulate dangerous or potentially narcissistic in itself? So the desire to manipulate a narcissist, is it dangerous or potentially narcissistic? As I said, we're going to start with the demonic aspect here. Is the desire to manipulate a demon dangerous? Yes. Is it potentially narcissistic? Not potentially. There is no potential narcissism there. If I, as a human, have a desire in my heart to manipulate a demon, that's beyond narcissism. That's acting demonic. I have just embraced the nature of a demon, the darkness of replacing God. I am now God because I can control anything and everything. So does that make sense? Demons, the prince of the air, are little mini demigods held on a real tight leash by God, but they're still gods here because this is their stomping ground. And for any human to think that they can manipulate a demon, ain't gonna happen. You are so in need of some sort of scales coming off your eyes. I can't even address it. So on the human scale, to think about is the desire to manipulate a narcissist. And you know what? I cannot tell you how many men and women have found themselves in these sort of relationships. And oh my gosh, it's so hard because they don't want to let them go. There's so much love invested. There's so much money invested. And is the desire to want to manipulate these people, is it dangerous? Yes! Because when we take our love and we lower it to the basis level of I'm going to control you, we throw God out of the equation and we ask God to let us be gods because we know better for that person. That's a load of BS. You cannot do it. You cannot do it without hurting your soul. You cannot think that anything good is ever going to come out of it. So yes, it's dangerous. It's potentially leading to you to an oppression with this person, and it's going to invite more oppressions. Don't try it. Is it potentially narcissistic in itself? Potentially. Here we go back to Webster's. Potential, meaning that it could lead to. We're talking about a desire, okay? A desire to manipulate the narcissist. So, is that narcissistic? The desire, All right, let's break down, okay, because we do come from a Catholic religious demonology standpoint here. The desire. The desire is not the sin. 3 things make a sin, okay? It's not just the thought. Okay, I think I'm going to take these glasses and shove them down somebody's throat. The desire in my mind to shove these glasses down somebody's throat is not the sin. The sin is to give it a second thought and go, ooh, there's my hand. I could do it right now. The sin is actually physically and then getting up and doing it. So the desire, is that potentially narcissistic to want to manipulate? No. It would take the follow through of actually thinking about how to manipulate the narcissist that is potentially narcissistic and will potentially leave you and the situation open to oppression. Why do I say the situation? Why do I even say that? Because in the world of spiritual warfare, deliverance, healing, and exorcism, it's not just you that is oppressed. When you open these doors, you are opening your home, your animals, your children, and everything else for these little cockroaches to come in and just have a ball at your expense. So never give in to these desires. Offer them to God. Pray them away. Bind them to the foot of the cross. Do not think about these desires. If you need to protect yourself, if you're finding yourself in a situation with somebody that is so brutally hateful and abusive, what can you do? You need to get professional counseling. You need to talk to your priest. You need to talk to your pastor. You need to make a plan, not desire to manipulate, not desire to see if you can get better than them. You need to take it to God. Because you will not win this battle on your own dancing with demons. You won't do it. Now I get to take questions from chat. So, all right, there's a question from chat here. Really, really good one. All right, so we have JV. All right, so can a narcissist actually be rehabilitated? Oh boy. Now, rehabilitation. All right, let's go back to Webster's here, and I'm going to go on my center camera so I can finish up and round everything up. Rehabilitation is like anything else. Okay, can a smoker be rehabilitated? Can a pedophile be rehabilitated? I mean, what is rehabilitation? Rehabilitation is to rehabituate. Or in other words, let's say I'm a gardener and I hate gardening. Can I be rehabilitated to like gardening again? I can be taught gardening again. Does that mean I'm rehabilitated? It means that I may have been rehabituated to it, but I would have to participate in it. There's a big difference there. So I think rehabilitation is the wrong word. I think maybe what you're looking for is, can a narcissist be cured of the desire and the need to survive and thrive behind this narcissistic. There is no way. It's an absolutely abusive style of living. Can they do it? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Will they lose all the effects of narcissism? I haven't seen that. I've seen, some people that have struggled and have, taken some anti-anxiety medications, and they have stopped the abuse of denigrating. The desire is still there. The need to rip somebody else is still in their mindset, because it's easy to change a behavior. It's difficult and almost impossible to change an attitude. That takes a lot of years of practice. And they have to admit that there's something wrong with their attitude. So if they can't admit that there's something wrong, no, they will never be rehabilitated. They will never be cured, because we don't ask for help when we know it all, when we're positive and we're confident that what we're doing is the right thing. And from a narcissist point of view, this is what they have to survive. From the demonic's point of oppressive view, they must destroy you in order to survive, because they're going to be taking you, they believe, with them. So how does that make them survive? It broadens their kingdom of hell. And in a sense, it's very, very difficult to wrap our minds around the glories of hell, the depths of hell. Just like it's very difficult for us to understand the survival mechanisms that the narcissists use in destroying us so that they can appear to be happy. There is no happiness with a narcissist. There is no happiness with a demonic either. So if you have somebody you know, if you have a friend, if you have someone that claims to be a channeler or a psychic or a prophetess, and they claim to be very, very happy and that their guardian angel is so happy, these are not emotions that are given to the preternatural beings. Happiness and joy. The angels live in a state of pure bliss that we can't even understand. Is that joy? Is that happiness? No. It's greater than that. So that's the angels. Imagine the demonics that are constantly whispering in our ear and tempting us. The level of abject disgust and hate with our little measly, whiny, complaining selves, because we are so much lower than bugs to them. That's how a narcissist looks at you. That's the way it is. So for this two-part series of, this one case, I'll be having more shows on narcissism. As Ashley said, please give this video a like so that other people can understand this information. Hopefully this information will help someone, maybe turn a light on, get them thinking about different things, possibly getting them into thinking, well, maybe it's time I need a walk with Jesus Christ. Never know. So if you like it, if you share it, even better, or, hashtag Sorts of St. Michael, they can get to this channel and find some good stuff. And so, the subscribe button's down there, the little heart button, you've got to make sure that you click on the notifications. This series will continue, and we're going to dive into much more, but never forget, the battle's been won. And hopefully Swords of St. Michael is here to help you win the fight and win it right. Thank you all for joining us very much. God bless you. God keep you. And I want to end everybody on one of my favorite notes, okay? Because this is just, I love this. For our wrestling is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the world of this darkness, against the spirits of wickedness in the high places. God bless you, God keep you, and shine his countenance on you. Good night.